So I use Windows for work, but for every other thing in my personal life, I use a Mac. And one thing I miss when I switch over to my Mac is the app switching experience on Windows. It just feels so much better. On Mac, you don't get support for multiple windows of the same app. So let's say you have multiple windows of a browser open. You don't get a preview of the app before you switch. And it just feels much better on Windows. So there's an app I use to get the same experience for app switching on Windows on Mac, and it's called Alt-Tab. It even improves on the Windows experience by letting you change the behavior of the interface, theme, the size of the windows, and lots more. I think the default behavior is good enough, but the option to personalize the app is a nice touch. You launch with Option plus Tab key, and you get an interface which is much more useful than the default macOS interface. Now you'll be able to see multiple windows of the same app, and you can quit, close, minimize, or even go full screen straight from here. This next app is called Stats, and it's like activity monitor on steroid. It lets you monitor all the important metrics you need on your computer, from the common ones like RAM, CPU, and GPU, but to other things like your CPU core usage, the battery temperature, fan speed, airflow intake, and even network sensors, and a lot more. But remember to only add the metrics you need to monitor, because it does this in real time, and adding too much may start slowing down your computer. Now, this one I don't use every day, I don't use too often, but every time I've needed it, it has come in clutch. It's called PDFGear, and it is probably the best PDF editor creator on the market that I've used. And I have an Adobe CC subscription, so that's saying something. It feels very smooth. It lets you do pretty much everything Adobe Acrobat lets you do. So you can create PDF, convert PDF, sign, encrypt, redact, pretty much everything you do on Adobe Acrobat. Now, this next app does one thing, and it does it really well. So if you're like me, you use different apps and you like using shortcuts. So I use a lot of shortcuts in so many of my apps, and I sometimes mix up my shortcuts. I even started writing down shortcuts, but who wants to write down shortcuts, man? So I use an app for that, and it's called KeyClu. All it does is, in whatever app you have open, if you hit Command twice, you see a list of all of the available shortcuts you can use for that. I've used it for all the apps I have on my Mac, and it works. Here is it working on Finder. So I hit Command twice to activate it. And here it is working in Safari, Premiere Pro, and Brave browser. So that's KeyClu. If you use a lot of shortcuts, this should be a good one for you. Now, the last app for this video is a 2-in-1. Now, I know a lot of people think Macs don't get malware or viruses, but that's just not true. It's a bit harder to get a malware if you're using a Mac, but it's not impossible. I've seen Macs that have been infected with malware. So here are the two apps that I use. They're called Knock+Block and Knock+Block. It's from the guys at Objective-C. They make a lot of security-oriented apps. I'll leave a link in the description so you guys can check them out. But these two apps work together to protect you from malware and ransomware by they monitor locations and they check for apps that constantly reinstall themselves, which malware usually do. And then it sends you an alert so that you can either block or allow the process to run. So those are some of the apps that I use on my Mac. Well, that's 5 of them that I use on my Mac to help optimize my workflow on my Mac. Let me know in the comments which one you guys have already or will be trying out. Give the video a thumbs up if you like this or you want to see more of this. Subscribe to the channel so that you do not miss the next upload. And as usual, I'll see you guys in the next one.